Drake May is, first of all, great win. It's very difficult to win on the road in the NFL. They blew out a team. It doesn't matter how good the team was. They look fantastic. But Drake May, had to come out for a couple plays. He, hit his head hard off the turf. He was hit a lot in that game. Are you concerned with Drake May not sliding? He's so good now. This is the kind of things you look at. Are you concerned about injury with him?
Well, so I think it's a good question, Fred. And I think this was a little bit of a step back, believe it or not, for Drake in terms of what they've been talking about with him in terms of tucking and running, right? And letting the play progress out. And he even mentioned that after the game when I asked him about 21 of 23 passing. What's your reaction to that? And he said, I should have had more because there were plays where if he had let it develop. So I think I'm not concerned, Fred, but I actually do think like if we want to start with a sort of a critical analysis of the game, that's one area where you want to see him go in the other direction this week coming up against the Browns, against a good defense. Maybe don't run as much because there are more plays to be made in the passing game.
Yeah, and we mentioned, he got hit a little bit yesterday. What was that an offensive line problem? Was he holding onto the ball too long? What was the issues with the quarterback hits and sacks?
So probably I'm going to guess, Fred, a combination. I haven't had a chance to go through the full game, but it looked to me like the rookie left guard, Jared Wilson, had a couple pressures on him. And pretty good Tennessee Titans defensive line. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best in the league. I know he didn't play the whole game. He got injured early with a hamstring, but I would say probably pin it a little bit more on that than Drake himself on some of those hits.
Okay. It seemed like Vrabel, he'd said the running game and, he committed to it and they had success. What was the difference in the running game that you saw yesterday?
So I think when the offensive linemen were talking last week about just finishing longer than the player that they're blocking, sometimes it's a little bit more of a simplistic view, but I think that's what I saw. They blocked better and in unison. So there's like combination blocks at the line of scrimmage. Looked like they were working well together up front. And Ramondre hit the holes and maybe ran a little more fearlessly. So at times I thought last week there maybe was more to be had. And there was some tentativeness because he wanted to make sure he came up with the ball at the end of the play. And I felt like in this game, he let it rip a little bit more.
Mike, we were talking about this last hour. The fact that they're 5-2 is fantastic. They already have more wins this season than they had in each of the last two seasons. But I'm trying to figure out, what is this team? Is this team good, or have they progressed to the point where they can just take advantage of bad football and beat bad teams?
So I think they're a good team, John, and I think they can get even better than what we've seen. And at the same time, I think it's a good point you make. Like, they haven't played too many of the what would call top 5 teams in the league. And when I say that, I'm thinking about Tampa Bay, Detroit, Kansas City. I'd put Buffalo in there. They played them and beat them. And that game alone tells me that they're a good team. And I'd say taking advantage of the bad football is part of being a good team.
All right. So if you're looking at this and from the run game standpoint versus the pass game standpoint, as you kind of mentioned there earlier, is Mike Vrabel concerned at all with balance at this point? Is he afforded himself the luxury, to get to 5-2 and say, all right, this is where we want to be, or is he still just going to be looking at this in terms of, hey, whatever's available, we're going to take it? It seems like the offense has kind of proven itself enough now, Mike, to where they can start thinking about things more philosophically if they wanted to.
Oh man, I think on this one, Hardy, I start with the turnovers. No turnovers the last 4 games,
right,
and they're 4-0 in the last 4 games. So I'm trying to think like Vrabel And I think that's where it starts. They were, after that Steelers game, when they had 5 turnovers, they were -3 in the turnover differential as a team. I think they're +2 since that. They're +2 now on the season, which is a great turnaround. I don't think he thinks they're there offensively. I don't think Josh McDaniels would think they're there offensively. I started to watch the game over, Hardy, and this is the crazy part to me. I left the game thinking Drake played this great game. And the more I watched it, I'm like, they actually can do it. It wasn't as great, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I know that sounds crazy. I think there's a lot more there is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not being like, I don't want to sound negative, because it's more of a compliment that I actually think they can be a lot better than what
there's another gear or
what
two.
they showed yesterday.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so,
yes.
and that's great, because it's the next kind of line of questioning. This is, again, like you, it's not negative, it's a positive. This team's making the playoffs. So you get into a playoff game, you could have a home playoff game. You get into a playoff game, you're playing a good team at home. What's the vulnerability, do you think, like when they get into the playoffs and they're in that kind of atmosphere against quality opponents, where could teams take advantage of them?
Well, I don't think anyone can like the way they're starting games defensively. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Get to 'em
Got to
early.
come out, get to them early, come out with more energy. And honestly, Fred, like, can they reestablish home dominance? I know they beat the Panthers, and they're, that was a big home win.
Panthers
but they
4-3. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's not even that
that
bad
was
a
good.
team. So yeah,
That was good. But they lost to the Raiders on opening day. They lost to the Steelers in week 3. I think, to me, where can teams get to them? I mean, I want to see if the Patriots can be a better team at home, start faster defensively, cover kickoffs better. I don't think the kickoff coverage was great. And I think the other vulnerability, Fred, and this is why the playoffs thing is unbelievable to me, that this is even possible right now at 7 weeks into the season. The vulnerability to me is still depth. Like I look at like running back as an example, like the splits between Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Terrell Jennings. Like that tells me that they have like full confidence in Ramondre right now. He's sort of got himself back after the fumbles. And then like if something ever happened to him, I think there's a big drop off. Robert Spillane at linebacker, same thing. So I know what you're saying. I'm just like, I don't know if we can bank on that the team's going to be fully healthy going into the playoffs. And so that would be another vulnerability to me, just the depth at some positions.
because it's been insane how healthy they've been. Like the lack of injury up to this point has been great. And we've talked about this, and you could talk about it every year. I mean, a lot of it is the team that stays healthy, and they've been able to do that. So that's a huge positive for them as well.
And,
so, yeah, we talk about lack of depth, but it hasn't been a factor.
I know. And Fred, I wonder on that, how much of that is, some of it's probably luck, but I do wonder how much of it is Vrabel's approach. This has been fascinating to me just because we've been so conditioned by one way of doing things for 20, 25 years in terms of like how they practice. So like 5 weeks ago, I was asking Vrabel why they don't practice in full pads, like they don't put thigh pads on, which was always what they did on Wednesdays. And so he doesn't do that because he thinks with the full shoulder pads up top that it's enough. I think he pulls back sometimes, with the GPS tracking, all that stuff. It's just a different approach. And I think that's born from him going outside of the Belichick coaching tree and seeing different ways of doing things and taking advice from others who had been other places. So that's sort of a fascinating one to me in terms of just that, the team health and how they go about their sort of daily, weekly workload.
Considering the depth you guys are just talking about, what should the Patriots prioritize as we get closer to the trade deadline?
So, John, I'm still on the running back thing. If they can get another one. Otherwise, in defense, I guess you can never have enough pass rushers. So after Harold Landry and Calebon Chason on the edge there, first and second down pass rush, those guys can be hard to get, but those are the two that come to my mind. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me, but I don't think receiver. I like what they're doing at receiver. What else would you think? Maybe in the secondary?
No, I'm just laughing at the fact that, we're sitting here saying like, yeah, receiver, they're all right. Why are they all right? Well, they got Keyshawn Booty and Pop Douglas, and I'm not joking, but can you imagine us saying this at week 7 or 8, before the start of the season? Like, no, they're fine at the receiver position. Diggs is contributing, and every once in a while, a Hooper or Hollins and Henry will step up and make a big catch. So, no, I'm with you. I think the running back is an issue. The one thing I do wonder about, though, Mike, and it's health related, is Drake Maye having to go into the blue tent yesterday for the concussion protocol. They got to get him to slide. I mean,
we talked about that.
I know, but just for the dynamic nature of his run game, and like, there's just too much at stake. They have to get to him. They have to explain to him
that was the whole first half of this interview.
I know.
Talking about that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
Mike, am I wrong? Did we not discuss
No.
that at the beginning of the interview?
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have zoned out for a moment.
Oh, that's more than okay.
No.
I've been there several times.
Sorry, Mike.
Don't. No, I'm just. I didn't want you, Mike have to.
I was
do that
actually
again.
well. The one thing that we did have to get to is, as long as we have one more thing, you or Zoe mentioned a concert that you guys are going to at the end of the broadcast yesterday.
Yes, we're going to be seeing Bryan Adams down at Mohegan Sun Saturday night, and Zoe is asking for a little bit of grace if the broadcast for the Browns game is a little rough on Sunday, because he's going to be coming off a big night with me, Brian. It's the first show for Bryan Adams in the United States this year, so we're going to welcome him there. We're going to have some signs. I'm thinking we might do. I might bring a sign to this one because he takes sign requests.
What
would you do?
Whoa. What's on the sign?
Yeah,
what's on the sign?
I was going to ask you, I think One Night Love Affair is an excellent Bryan Adams song that's not always on his set list.
We all know it, of course. It's of course, Mike. We all know all the B-sides. We all know the deep cuts. I know.
Please have Zoe carry a sign that says "Summer of '69." Please.
Or cuts like a knife.
Yeah.
All right. So I know, if it's just me, I know Cuts Like a Knife, Summer of '69, and the Half Off Card Shop song where I worked at Half Off Card Shop. And they played it once an
all
hour.
For One, One for All.
No, Ever
Everything
Loved
I
a Woman. Everything I do, I do for you.
Yeah.
And then Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman, which are two terrible songs. There's no way you like those songs. Those two, I would imagine.
Great songs, Fred. They're all great. And you're forgetting Heaven, Fred, like the 8th grade middle school dance.
That's not
Come on.
bad.
But that was like a dirty movie that came out of. That was about a male stripper. Do you recall that? I always remember.
I don't. Yeah.
Well, I was very closeted. I was very, well, that too. But I was very sheltered in terms of my access to pornography. So when I saw in the news, I would look at the newspaper for stripper ads, like at Jason's and $1 Million Saloon. They would have tiny pictures of the featured dancers. And I remember seeing the movie poster for, what was it? It's about a male. It was a movie about a male stripper, and me thinking, this is about sex. And it being confusing to a young Fred Toucher. So my parents sued the Free Press to get that out of there. All right. Well, listen, you love who's opening for Bryan Adams? It can't just be him.
No, Pat Benatar.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Are they swapping out headlining duties? Is it like a Kid Rock, Jason Aldean situation where they, one takes the night off and the other gets the headline?
This is a clear 1-2, Pat first, then Bryan. And if you guys are intrigued by this conversation, they're playing in Boston at the Garden Sunday night. So you could go watch Patriots Browns, go and see the show at the Garden. That's a good Sunday.
They are just that act is trying to sell out the Garden.
The Garden you would be amazed who can play the Garden.
Really?
That's not surprising at all. And go back and watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Pat Benatar, for about a 2-year span, there was no one bigger in music.
Well, there were 3 girls at Ridgemont who had adopted the Pat Benatar look.
That's right.
And that is very true. Yeah. And it wasn't a bad look in retrospect. All right. Well, Mike, listen.
I apologize for missing the entire first half of the conversation.
That's all right. There was some. He has a big Keegan Bradley event today, so he's all wound
Oh,
up. He can't. He's
Yes.
got. He's got to go out there and talk to like superintendents and stuff like that. He's fit to be tied. All right, Mike. Great stuff as always.
For the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.